This is one about a car that just couldn't keep its color. Hi, my name is Thaw. I own a company called Canadian Classic Auto Supply, and for the past 30 years I've been taking playing with cars very seriously. From 2002 to 2008 I was heavily involved in the film industry, and working on approximately 300 productions over those years, I've kind of acquired a few stories that I'd like to share with you. This is one about a car that just couldn't keep its color. So, way back in the summer of 2005, I was asked to provide a low-budget production with a Crown Victoria for a 2-week rantal. The car needed to be a brownish kind of state trooper type thing, which wasn't a big deal. The only problem is most of our Crown Victorias at the time were white, and I had a blue one. But they said, okay, they'll take a white one, and I told them to paint the car brown would be $650. They approved, and it would be a 10-day rental plus the 1 day to paint the car for 11 days total. So we got the car all ready to go. We chose a brown color that we had from our economical line of industrial rust paint that we used on these types of vehicles. And we made the deal. Material cost was right around $200 to paint these cars, and for the $650 paint job, they were getting something right around the quality of an Earl Schreiber. We had scuffed the car with Ajax and red Scotch-Brite pads, would mask off the windows. A friend of mine owned a high volume industrial body shop that did a lot of insurance work, so for about $300 on the painter's off time, we could sneak a car into the booth and paint it real quick, and he would generally get a car done and painted in about 2 hours. So early on one morning, around 8 o'clock, we got the car into the booth, masked it off, got it all ready to go, and Paul started painting the car. Not a problem. About an hour and a half later, he calls me up, he goes, "Car's done, sitting in the baking oven, let me know when you want to pick it up." Fantastic. As I hung up the phone with Paul the painter, I got another phone call. It was the art director of the production I was working on. Called me up in a small panic. He goes, "Did you paint that car yet?" I went, "Yeah, it's painted. It's brown. It's ready to go." He goes, "Well, we got a small problem. There's been a change in the script. That brown car now needs to be detective blue." I went, "Well, that's not too big a deal. The only problem is my blue Crown Victoria is out on rental, so we'd have to paint the brown car blue. So that'd be another $650 to paint the car." A lot of grumbling ensued and a little bit of moaning and groaning, but he finally said yes. I said, "Not a problem, we'll have the car ready by the end of the day." So I hung up the phone with the art director and called Paul. I said, "Paul, that brown car now needs to be blue." He goes, "Well, okay." I said, "I'll be over in a little bit with a gallon of our detective blue paint, as we call it." So I rushed over to the body shop, got him a gallon of blue paint, mixed it up in the booth, and the car was still tacky from the brown. And here we go, shooting dark blue over brown, and it worked. It started to sink in a little bit, but it worked. Paul was a really good painter. He took a lot of pride in his work, and getting him to paint these movie cars was a small feat. We ended up having to buy him his own special economy paint gun from Harbor Freight with a 1.8mm tip, just to be able to spray the thick media of the industrial rust paint that we needed to spray on these cars. So Paul's going at it, painting the car blue, everything's going great. Around 10:30, 11 o'clock, calls me up, he goes, "Car's almost done. You can probably pick it up around 1 o'clock. I say, "Hey, not a problem, Paul. I'll come see you soon." So head back over to the paint shop right around 11 o'clock, and just as I pull into the paint shop, phone rings again. It's the art director. "We've changed the script again." I went, "Oh no, what now?" He goes, "Well, you happen to have a yellow Crown Victoria we can use as a universal kind of urban taxi cab?" I went, "No, not really." He goes, "So what do we do now?" I went, "Well, you can always paint this blue car yellow, but I'll have to charge you $650 for another paint job again." More grumbling ensued, more hemming and hawing, and finally he said, "Yeah, sure. Paint the car yellow." So I walk into the body shop and I look at Paul. I said, "Paul, this blue car now needs to be yellow." He looked at me, he goes, "You kidding, right?" I went, "Nope." I said, "I'll be right back." So my office wasn't too far from the body shop. It was like a 20-minute hop. Ran back to my office, grabbed a gallon of my industrial safety yellow paint and a pint of industrial safety orange. And between Paul and I, we figured out a good universal taxi cab-ish yellow orangey thing that tend to work for most productions. And since they weren't too particular, I said, this is going to have to do. I ran back to the body shop, handed Paul a gallon and the pint, and I went, we need to make magic. And he goes, we need a miracle. So he goes back into the paint booth. Now, the Crown Victoria is still kind of tacky from the blue paint being over the brown paint. And he goes, I don't know how this is going to work. I went, well, only one way to find out. So he steps into the booth and he takes the first swing with the yellow, and it sinks right into the blue, and we start to get some mystical green color out of this. And I'm kind of, oh God, they want yellow, not green. But hey, it's a low budget production to get what they get at this point. So Paul slowly and carefully puts more and more of this industrial taxi cab yellow paint over the still fresh blue paint. And finally, after about 3 or 4 very, very faint dusting coats, the paint starts to stick. And while it's still yellow, there's still a hint of green in it if you look at it the right way. So he pounds more paint onto the car, and by this time it's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And he figures, you know, if we just put this thing in the oven overnight, we should be okay. I'm kind of going, I hope so. So I call back production, I tell him, hey, your brown car that we had painted blue is now yellow, and it'll be ready for tomorrow morning. And they asked, so how's it look? I went, well, looks like a taxi cab, sort of, kind of. Needs decals, definitely needs decals. So they say, great, we'll pick it up tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. So 9 o'clock the next morning, we meet over at the body shop, we roll the car to the oven, and it actually looked not bad. We got lucky, and the paint actually stuck, and it looked pretty yellow with a hint of orange, and if you look at it in the right light, there's a little bit of green to it, but it's a taxi cab. You know, these things get painted all the time, right? And at the end, the production was quite happy. We got the 10-day plus the 1-day rental, and we ended up using that car in its yellowish format for many other productions over the years. So, it goes to show, if you don't have the right car, you just got to keep on painting until you get the right car. Well folks, this is our new channel. If you like what you see, subscribe. We'd like to have you as a viewer, and hope you have a great day. Bye.
Dun dun dun! It's Captain Chaos. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Hey, and while you're at it, why don't you comment down on one of the videos below and tell them Captain Chaos sent you?